from 1659 to 1681? Does anybody know?
The Puritans.
The Puritans. That is correct. Even though the ban on Christmas was lifted in 1681, Christmas didn't become popular in Boston until the mid-19th century. So there you got it. Christmas was banned at one time. We have a number of role players that are going to be playing some roles today, and so I want to introduce a few of those roles. Dale is our grammarian today, as she's taking a sip of water. Dale, can you tell us what your role is and what you're going to be doing today?
I am responsible for the word of today and for keeping count on grammatical roots and counting ums, ahs, hums, and so forth.
The word of the day today is?
And so.
And so. Just go ahead.
One of my pet peeves, it was pointed out to me many years ago, because I thought and was a number, and is not a number. When we say 2017, it's 2017, not 2017. When we say 104, it's not 104. When you say and, it means plus. 100 plus 4 is 104. That's the and part. The so part is that so is not a behavior. I'm noticing that a lot of people say the word so instead of doing a shoulder block. So you block the person emotionally from you. It's a defensive gesture. So is not a behavior. It is okay to introduce a sentence with so under certain circumstances. But if you can avoid it, you want to avoid it. I'm noticing it in print a lot. In speech, you might say, so what's happening today? And it's instead of saying, Avital, what do you think? So, what do you think? It's used when you can't remember names. It's much more effective. For example, so we are gathered here today is not as effective as saying Toastmasters, we are gathered here today in positive regard for the camaraderie of shared speech. May it be so.
May it be so. Well, thank you. I almost said, so our next person. No. Brian is our timer today. And before he takes that big bite there, Brian, can you tell us what your role is and how you are going to be playing that role?
As the timer, I will be timing the speeches, I will be timing the evaluators, and I will be timing Table Talks participants, or Table Topics participants. And given the length of the speech, I will light a green light when things are going well. Yellow light means better wrap it up. Red light, you're done.
Thank you very much. And I don't think we'll be getting to table topics today because we do have 3 speeches today. And the speech times, Julie will have a speech from 10 to 12 minutes. So I can never say that right, I'm so sorry. Svetlana will be doing an icebreaker of 4 to 6 minutes, and Avital will have a 5 to to 7-minute speech. We'll talk about those in just a moment. Our general evaluator today is Diane. Diane, would you like to talk about your role for just a moment?
Sure, thank you, Brian. My role today is to evaluate the overall meeting and evaluate the evaluators and the Toastmasters.
Thank you. So the French word Noel. Did you notice how I did that one? Like mark me down. So the French word Noel is often used around Christmas. But what was its original meaning in Latin? In Latin. In Latin, it means birth. So you can get why the name or the word Noel has become so synonymous with Christmas. Our first speaker is Julie. She is from London, in the UK. She is originally from Transylvania, where Dracula never lived, and from France, where her kids grew up. The title of her speech today is going to be From Story to Story. It is going to be a reflection on a path, which means it is the last speech that she is going to be giving and completing a Path in the Pathways program. And the path that she is on is the leadership style path. Her speech length will be 10 to 12 minutes. Please help me welcome Julie.
Don't judge a path by its title. Like a book, the title of a path doesn't tell what is inside. So finally, for this path, I choose well. Leadership development is the title, and inside all the path is to prepare special events. And that is what we wanted. And that was an example when a path is not a path. When the projects are not only projects, but more. I went, as Paul together with me on his path, from story to story. Instead of going level by level and project by project, which is like telling that you are made from an arm and 2 legs, but we are all a lot more than that. In summer, Paul White, Chief Ambassador of the Second Pilot District, and me decided we will do parallel paths. It was his idea at the beginning to do a path with a goal. Towards doing something, not just going from bone to bones. And I added it to make it a team. And the team was storytelling. So he chose visionary communication, which was a path for change and making some changes. And I chose my developing leadership development, and we begin. He began telling how he was born in a night, magical night, from very mixed parents, Indian, French, black, a little bit everything was inside. And he survived. He was the only survivor of 7 children of his parents. And I began at the end of the summer in a courtyard in Normandy, in France, telling a story about my great-mother's childhood to 57 of her descendants gathered together for the first time. And I have a picture to show it at the beginning. And then we went like this, telling about, later I told about my father and how his story 30 years later influenced my life. It helped me to convince everyone, and I hope you are also convinced that stories are important. And then I begin to make small gatherings, small festivities, special meetings, and bigger and bigger. And in December, beginning of December, we ended up with a huge storytelling meeting of 15 storytellers. And it was like here. Some of them were in a room and told their stories from there. And some of us were far away in Oregon, in Samarkand, in New Zealand, and we came on the screen alternatively. It was wonderful. And Michelle stopped her car just in time and told us the story in the nick of the time when it was her time. Svetlana had a small problem and she was broken, but she came back in time. The only one who really didn't make it well was me. I told a funny story, a story which was in fact very sad, but finished with a lot of laughter. But at the beginning there was some noise. The noise bothered me. And I exclaimed, how would will be if it was silence? Yeah, and my special secretary, wonderful fee, sergeant of arms, got me silence. I had what I wanted. To be silent when you tell a joke, it is not so well, because everyone laughed at some time and I didn't know. So I went on and on, they didn't hear me because of the no. I didn't hear them, they didn't hear me. They heard what I said, but not while they were laughing. I learned to take a little bit more care what I wish and what I ask for. And finally, finishing very well, because in all, even with small things happening, our festival went wonderfully, and the alternates also went great. I decided to do a last difficult task, which is called lessons learned, which has to be done after a big event. So I gathered my team, they came, most of them came, each told their opinion, and we plotted how we can do next time even better. And then I had to speak about it. I was so full of details that instead of a story, which I wanted to tell with ups and downs and problems and so on, I just told all the problems we can solve next time. And it was boring. I hope my story tonight and finishing with you at lunch in Oregon, all the way from Philippines and from Samarkand and from London will be not boring. And you will remember a story can be, a past can be, what do we want to do with it? Not just 5 levels and projects inside the level it can lead to what we want. We can give life to it, as we give life to a puppet. And it's no more just skeletons, but a real being which we created. Like we created together with Paul, both story paths.
Okay. Thank you, Julie. I forgot to mention that Laura Lee is the evaluator for Julie, and so we'll be hearing from Laura Lee in a little bit with some suggestions and critique.
And you can see Paul, he came as guest. He arrived nick of time before I finished.
So we have two guests that just joined in. You want to say loud so everybody can hear.
Juan, you can't see him, but he's actually one of my coaching clients. I was doing that with an organization called Success Resources. He's coming in from Chicago, and he's a really, really awesome guy.
And then we have a second guest here, Laura Lee.
Yes, we have a second guest. His name is Paul, and
Oh, those Pauls, I don't know about.
right there.
Okay.
He's waiting.
Hi, Paul. So the total number of people online today are?
1, 2, 3. Oh, stop.
5. All right. In what century, and I found this to be interesting because
6 now.
yeah, now 6, okay. I found this to be interesting. During Christmas, a lot of times we get these cards that will say, Happy Xmas. And I know that there's a lot of things out there saying we shouldn't take Christ out of Christmas and that type of thing. But this isn't just a recent event. What century was it first written? Xmas. Somebody have a guess? I mean, century. What century? It was in the 16th century, believe it or not. And the X in Xmas actually came from the Greek letter chi, or chi, or however you want to say it, C-H-I. The letter X has long been used as abbreviation for Christ. And since the Greek word for Christ begins with what looks like an X, Christ was often written with the letter X. So in reality, you're not taking Christ out of Christmas when you put Xmas. You're actually using the original Greek for Merry Christmas. I found that quite surprising myself. Our next speaker is going to be Svetlana. I'm pretty sure I said that right this time. She joined our club, and I think she's actually our most recent member that just joined in, well, actually, I believe you actually joined after, sir. So she joined our club December 1st, and she's from the UK. She is doing her icebreaker today, first speech ever. It'll be 4 to 6 minutes long, and Rosalind is going to be her evaluator. So if you would, for those in our club here, direct your attention to our monitor there, and Svetlana, help me with welcome Svetlana.
Thank you very much for the introduction. A place where you have not been before might be a place where nobody has been before. Places like that might be where history is made. After all, yesterday's story is today's history. I was brought into the world at the time of Thaw, a big change in the Soviet Union. When the first man flew into space, And I experienced perestroika, a time of big change. But I thought the name of my street, the Soviet street, would never change. It changed 3 times. When shortly after perestroika, the Soviet Union collapsed and disappeared, in fact, the whole country was removed from under our feet overnight. And sometimes I say that the country where I was born doesn't exist anymore. But we survived. We, the people, superseded this superpower. If you define shock as the altered state of mind, the altered state of consciousness, the state of consciousness of the whole society was altering. It was an extended and deep shock in the shops, in the libraries, in beauty parlors, everywhere. TV screens were on, and live broadcasts of discussions in the government, in the Communist Congress, in the parliament were on. We were afraid to miss something important, and everything seemed important. With the collapse of the Soviet Union came independence to the Republic of Uzbekistan. And with it, the international organizations gushed into the country. 1993, imagine, a little information resource center at the University of Samarkand, Uzbekistan, packed with foreigners and teachers and students. We were launching the first non-governmental grassroots organization of such kind. I had just graduated from a postgraduate school and was asked to interpret on the spot. And I agreed, because I never say no to challenges. Of course, I was scared. And then something happened. The moment of truth loomed over me and hovered there. I was alone in my mission, and fear was an unnecessary burden, I realized. Defining a shock as an altered state of consciousness helped me to use it as a workspace for simultaneous translation. My only friends and strong supporters were my hearing and careful repeating ability, and seconds became long and palpable. I was repeating what I heard with joy and confidence. My voice was shaping the festive mood of the gathering. I was the perestroika, and I was the independence. It was a state of total concentration, where nothing else existed, only the context of interpreting what I heard and repeated with confidence. The most important thing was to hold a firm grip on the stream of sentences and repeat while it was sounding. I turned that workspace into a bubble of positivity later on, and that bubble took me through a lot of projects, including my MBA degree in the United Kingdom. The birth of the first American baby in Uzbekistan triggered changes in our medical systems and hospitals. International standards of financial management delivered by professors from Westminster University in London later on led to opening of Westminster University in Tashkent. Judicial supervision over arrests and detentions, electronic court reporting, adversarial process, educational reform, and abolition of child labor in cotton picking. My message is that from even the most shocking shock came powerful good. To see it, you must first look inside of yourself and discover your talents. Then you must trust in yourself by listening to and following your inner voice engage with the changing world around you. And if you do that, you will learn from the past, make a beautiful present, and build for an even brighter future. Thank you.
Thank you, Svetlana. That was powerful, actually, especially for us here that have not experienced that type of upheaval in our life. So thank you. We'll give Rosalind just a moment to make her notes to be able to do the evaluation for Svetlana. In the meantime, NORAD, or the North American Aerospace Defense Command, has been tracking Santa Claus's trip on Christmas Eve for a long time. Does anybody know when NORAD officially started tracking that jolly man from the north? What's that?
I was going to say in the mid to late 50s.
That's correct. Specifically in 1955, NORAD started to track Jolly St. Nick officially on December 24th, 1955, and has continued every year. In fact, you can get on the news, you can go online now, and you can track him with NORAD as well. And Google, with Google Map, has been officially tracking Santa since 2004. Sometimes I'd like to look to check to see if NORAD and Google are in the same spot. Our third and last speaker for today is Avital Miller. She's been serving thousands of people worldwide for over 15 years to experience boundless energy, absolute happiness, and true success. Actor, singer, dancer, writer, speaker, minister, and Facebook Live connoisseur. She has perfected the art of popularity and persuasion and has made it her mission to help others reach their pinnacle of congeniality. She chested me on that word this morning, and thus cause world peace. Her title of her speech is going to be How to Win Friends and Influence People. Her project manual that she's working on is assignment number 5 in public relations. It will be a 5 to 7 minute speech, and Kathleen will be her evaluator. Please help me welcome Avital.
Ladies and gentlemen, the problem today is you walk into a restaurant and all you see are a bunch of glow lights because everyone is looking down at their phones instead of at each other. There was a recent study done by a British psychologist that says young adults spend an average of 5 hours a day on their phones. That's 1/3 of their waking life. With today's information overload, people having the whole wide world accessible to them at any moment through the World Wide Web, it's really hard to stand out, to get noticed, to make friends, to get your message across. I'm going to present to you today the one and only solution on how to win friends and influence people, scientifically proven to work 100% of the time, honed and perfected by Dale Carnegie and all the other masters of winning friends and influencing people. This is the most simplest, most efficient process that you could probably follow, that you could possibly follow. And there are 2 keys that you need to keep in mind in order to be successful with this technique. The first one is to develop your individual strength so that you stand out, that you shine, and that you can captivate everyone through their senses. The second is to cultivate a sense of community, because the more people that you can gather around you, the better you look. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you are ready to see the one thing that will turn your life around like never before. Once you see this, it almost doesn't even need an amazing, one of a kind, works like a charm technique. And it is wearing a Christmas tree on your head. This will scintillate people with the smell of the fresh pine, bringing back the familiarity of all the memories of time with their family on the holidays, sitting around the fire, laughing, joking, singing, playing games, eating all of these big meals together. And you want to be a sight for sore eyes? You are sure to never let a single person pass you by without noticing you again if you wear your Christmas tree on top of your head. This is sure to help you steal the show with all the bright colored lights and the colorful ornaments. And as the pine needles fall off of your tree, you'll leave traces of yourself behind so that people will never forget you. They'll have constant reminders which will make you stand out above all of the information overload. But also, and so, if you tinsel onto your tree, then people will likely go home with pieces of you all the time, surely to never forget you. With your wonderful posture of balancing the tree on your head, then you are also sure to be attractive. If you wear a Christmas tree on your head, you'll automatically appear to have more presence in front of people, and then they will be more present with you. They will also likely give you more presents that you could put around your tree. It's very important to receive those presents because that is your gift back to them so that they can feel like this wonderful giver and they have something to offer this world. Also, remember that in relationships, you need an equal balance of both a giver and a taker. There are other ways that you can give to people. You see, you are always going to have an unlimited supply of candy canes, so that you will always attract people to you and keep your friends by giving them candy canes all the time. And then not only will they be able to smell you and see you, but they will also be able to taste you all of the time. Then they may take you home with them and sit you in the living room, put some more presents around you, put some more ornaments and candy canes on your tree. There will probably be a nice plate of cookies nearby all the time, and when they're not looking, you can steal some of those cookies from them. But as you leave the home with all of the individuals' families' ornaments on the branches of your tree, it'll be like a variety of branches, just as we are a variety of individuals. Yet all of those branches are on one tree, just like we are all living on one planet. This could be the end to wars of difference, finally bringing peace to Earth. Imagine this country being filled with people in agreement and acceptance of each other and our differences. Lastly, you'll bring out the best in everyone. You see, when we are sad, our bodies tend to be drooped down and our eyes are looking down. But you are going to have this bright tree on top of your head, so everyone's going to be looking up and uplifted with joy. Not only that, but the yogis, those woo-woo people, they say that when those people are gazing upwards, they will be looking at their spiritual eyes. They call that the seat of highest consciousness. Scientists also say that intuition is activated at the same time that the prefrontal lobe is stimulated in their studies. Ladies and gentlemen, take a moment to imagine your life surrounded by friends all the time who always remember you and love you. This simple act of wearing a Christmas tree on your head will guarantee that for the rest of your life. May it be so.
May it be so. I think I'm hooked.
Oh.
Go back to cryostasis on it, Tom.
Let's just see the player of the week after that.
Well, thank you for that invigorating speech. I'm convinced I may have to go find myself a Christmas tree to put on my head now. In what country did Silent Night originate?
The song?
Where?
The song?
The song, yes.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, not the Silent Night. The song.
Germany?
In what country did this song, Silent Night?
No.
Germany?
Germany's close.
It was in a town called Oberndorf in Austria.
Yes.
Oh.
Woo!
And Lee was there.
It was written by a gentleman. The lyrics were written by Joseph Mohr, M-O-H-R, 1816, and the music was composed by Franz Gruber in 1818. It was that heartwarming song. Love where you put that really distracted me. I'm sorry for that. I will get dinged on my evaluation, I'm sure. That heartwarming song was a miracle that occurred in World War I as well, because both sides knew that song, and there was a spontaneous, impromptu singing in World War I during a Christmas truce, and it was. I wasn't there, but from all reports I heard that it was a very beautiful experience, considering the fact that everybody's trying to kill each other. They didn't have a Christmas tree on their head, and world peace at that point was a truce for just one evening during World War I. One other song that I want to talk about before we start into our evaluations. The original title for the popular Christmas song Silver Bells was written by Jay Livingston and Ray Evans. Does anybody happen to know what that original title of that song was? Lines are going.
Like City Lights or something?
No, it was Tinkle Bells.
Oh, Tinkle Bells.
Tinkle Bells, and the song was changed after Jay's wife pointed out that tinkle could also mean peeing. With that, we will have our first evaluation that will be done by Laura Lee, and she will be evaluating Julie's speech. Help me welcome Laura Lee.
I really like listening to the last speech of the path because they've gone through it for you and you can hear what they thought of it. So if you want to choose that path, you got a little insight. This was reflect on your path for the leadership path, and the purpose of it is just to reflect on the growth and the completion of the path that they just did. And it also is to share an aspect of their growth during the completion of the path. And I thought that Julie did really well telling us both some of the things that she went up against with the path and what she did to get over some of those problems and what she really liked. I thought that the thing that stood out most is how she used stories. And I think stories can be so diverse that you can kind of include them in anything. And I think that when it came off really well with your speech. This is from Pathways, so we have a new evaluation for it. And the first part of the evaluation is the clarity. Because of technical issues, there was a little bit of problem. Some of the video was slow, so we saw the gesture and then we heard what the gesture was for, and that made it a little difficult. But I thought that
you came off well when the video and the words were at the same time. Vocal variety is the second one. I really liked the vocal variety. Again, with the catching up, I didn't hear some of the words that you said just because of that. And I thought you conveyed the emotion really well with how you liked the path. The eye contact was really good. Some of your gestures were below your camera, so I could see that your shoulders were moving, like your arms were doing something, but I couldn't see what your hands were doing. And that's just a camera position. I liked how you tailored it to our club. You mentioned our club a few times, and it made us feel very special. And the comfort level, you're very comfortable with talking on camera. And the interest in engage the audience with how we can use this path as well. The only thing is the hand gestures, just to be aware that you are on camera, so you may be doing all these gestures and your camera may not see it.
All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Our next evaluation will be done by Rosalind, and you'll be watching the monitor. Rosalind online will be doing an evaluation for Svetlana, who is also online. So Rosalind.
Thank you so much. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
We can, we just can't see.
Yes.
Svetlana.
Yes.
Oh my God, don't get me started. It was such an amazing speech. I loved the way you started it. Even though it was an icebreaker, you had a powerful starting. Yesterday's story is today's history. Don't we all know that? Powerful message. And typically in an icebreaker, people tell about their stories and how you work in the Soviet Union. You also ended it with a very beautiful and a powerful message about telling about the past, about the present, and wishing us a brighter future, what we need to do. And typically, I have not heard that come across in an icebreaker speech. They use only what they've done and how they have done. And your story was so relatable. You talked to us totally in a spoken language that was very, very clear and easily understood. Your tone, your speed, and your volume was perfect. We all could relate to it. You used good eye contact. Typically, that's one of the struggles I've seen with online clubs where we sit, and when we are standing and we are talking in a stage, we have gestures, we have big gestures, we can breathe but sitting here, sometimes it's hard. You don't know where you're looking, whether you're looking at all of the people in the audience. And it would be nice if suppose we got that, felt like you were reading off some script that was written somewhere. So if you could engage more the next time, looking around. I loved how you told about the stories that, there was collapse in the Soviet Union, but what came with it was independence. And sometimes we all go through struggles, we all go through difficulties, but we need to understand what comes out of everything. So that's why I love the icebreaker and how you talked about life in Uzbekistan, how you launched the first this, how you went to PG school. It was all very, very nice stories that was covered in such a small icebreaker of 4 to 6 minutes. The moment of truth. I loved the choice of words when you said palpable. I thought that was a great use of words. You used gestures that was relatable. So I thought that the audience was very engaged, trying to listen to a very, very good story. That's not typically the stories that we hear here in the United States, So a life was different and how you come out of all those things. And we are so glad to have you with us. You appeared very, very comfortable with the audience. So thank you for a wonderful icebreaker, and I can't wait to hear your next.
Thank you. Thank you, Rosalind.
What is the most popular meal for Christmas in Japan? Can you imagine? I was shocked. It's Kentucky Fried Chicken. So popular, why did you have to eat in advance or face standing in long lines to get your Christmas fried chicken. Some people even start lining up Christmas Eve to make sure that they'll get their Christmas Kentucky Fried Chicken. Wow. There we go. Most popular Christmas meal in Japan. Our last evaluation will be done by Kathleen, and she will be evaluating a Vital speech. Kathleen.
Fellow Toastmasters, I don't get to attend very often during the school year, and it's really nice when I get to attend to have a responsibility. This was really very nice. And Avital, you have presented us with a lot to think about. A number of reasons. First, I should explain how to win friends and influence people, as you all know, is a classic in literature, and how to become more familiar with people and how to have them enter into your circle of friends. We have a son, our youngest, who is very awkward around people. And so one day I had just had it up to here, and I said, "Here, read the book." He did, didn't make a bit of difference. So I'm glad, I'm glad that now I have something that will make a big difference in my life. Avital, I did not know that you had this satirical side to you, and I think it's absolutely wonderful. Because this time of year when we're all stressed about Christmas and so forth, and to have something to wear on our heads to get people to like us. Wonderful, absolutely marvelous. I need to compliment you too on your puns, particularly with the presents and branches. They just flowed so easily as part of your speech that it was pleasant to listen to and also thought-provoking in that line. I need to mention, however, that when you began speaking, you were very calm, very comfortable in front of everybody, but your eyes went back and forth. When you are using eye contact, take some time to look at somebody and then go to the next person and the next person as you're talking. I'm thinking too that as you are talking, something that you did this time that you have improved on since I saw you last, is that you did not laugh at your own jokes. And you also did not laugh as if you were nervous. You carried that off with such composure, yet had to have been awkward wearing a carry on your head. I don't know how often you practice this, but very nicely done, because you continue to speak as though it was a normal thing to do, and that made it very pleasant for us to see. The only real question that I have about your talk is that it is the media speech. And I tried to think during the time that you were giving your speech, what media would this be appropriate for? Saturday Night Live, definitely. And so it definitely fulfilled that responsibility as well. I have found it fun to listen to you, enlightening. I don't know that I will wear a tree on my head, but if I ever do, I will think of this speech. Thank you.
I just wanted to mention, because Kathleen hasn't been here since she won. She's become quite the celebrity now since she left our club for her school assignments that she's been working on. And in her spare time, she went all the way to district and she brought home 3rd place with table topics. And so while you're here in our presence, let's give you a present of a round of applause. That was tremendous. Can I get the grammarian's report?
I have a difficult time resolving voices online. And so my evaluation isn't great. Most of the people in this club have it down pat on not doing ahs, ums, and so forth.
Okay.
I also want to let everyone know my daughter has asked me to come earlier, and so this is actually my last meeting. I'm going to be driving to Ohio in January. It's been great. This is a wonderful experience. The camaraderie is amazing. So thank you for.
Are you coming back?
No.
Online.
Attend online.
I'm
You can attend online.
I am not at this point in my like willing to do online. Yeah. No.
Well, if you do pop in, we would love to have you pop in, and I really hope that you continue with your journey with some other club, not as good as ours, but I hope you find a good club somewhere. So, but thank you. What animal parts were used to construct the first artificial Christmas tree? Oh, no.
Turtle doves?
It was the bones from the KFC chickens. No. It was goose feathers, and they were painted green, and they were used in Germany during the 19th century. And that became the artificial tree. It was a little bit, they had some challenges when they would bring the candles and put them on there. I mean, it went pretty quick. But it was the first artificial tree. Can we have a general evaluator's report, Diane?
What a wonderful Christmas themed speech or speeches and meeting. What I love about this club is it's inclusive and people are welcome from all over the world, and we try to make things work. It's not always smooth. Sometimes we start a little bit late, especially like when we had to switch Lee and Brian's roles. And but I didn't know what the meeting was going to be like until yesterday, but we got it figured out. And that's what I really, really like about this group. I love the humor. I really liked the words of the day because they're very simple words that we need to, as Toastmasters, we need to use correctly. So thank you for the words of the day and how they're used and misused. It's very challenging for the evaluators. One of the evaluators was online. One of the speeches was online and the evaluator was here. And then for our last speech, the evaluator and the speaker were here. That's very, very challenging, and I think everybody did an excellent job. I like the sandwich method. I call it the Oreo cookie method that we use for evaluating because I like Oreo cookies. That we tell the speaker how well everybody did, how well the speaker did, excuse me, and then how to improve, and the improvements were wonderful. I thought they were very, very helpful for everybody. You can take them into your own speech and say, well, maybe I could use that idea. And I think that's very, very important. And what I liked about the speeches that were online is there were improvements in how, because speaking online is very different from speaking in person. So anyway, great meeting. Love to be here. Thanks, everybody.
So now that she's done her evaluation, she won't be able to ding me on not getting a timer's report. I have all these blank spaces right here, so I'm supposed to ask after the speech to get a timer's report. And Brian, can you tell us how the times were?
8 minutes, 31 seconds, 5:55, 6:50, 3:08, 2:31, 2:47, 3:15.
That was an excellent, quick, computerized report.
Julie was 8 minutes, 31 seconds. Svetlana, 5 minutes, 55 seconds. Avital, 6 minutes and 50 seconds. And then the evaluators, Laura Lee was 3 minutes and 8 seconds. Rosalind was 2 minutes, 31. Kathleen, 2 minutes, 47. And Diane, 2 minutes, 15. While I was timing, it occurred to me that speakers online probably can't see the lights. We need it.
Right. Yeah, we try to move them forward to where they can see them.
So we need some kind of a technical fix. Maybe we
I have an idea.
No, they can see it there.
Okay.
Can they?
So
Right on the bottom of the picture.
Oh,
what I was
okay.
thinking, where I looked online and somebody had built out of a box, they put an LED colored bulb. They have remote controlled colored bulbs for one, so we could remotely, anyone could time around the table.
And if we just put it on a short lamp base,
So right
it
in the
could
center.
sit like right here, one bulb, and we can turn it yellow, green, red,
Remotely.
and remotely, and the whole thing would be less than $20.
Oh. Then I think we'll, at our next business meeting, which will be our next meeting, we will bring that up and have a vote and we'll discuss it, because we've tried it with something else and we'll see if that will work. Before I turn the meeting back over to our officer of the day, I would like to propose a toast to our club. May this holiday season, and you online, if you want to raise up your glass as well. There we go. That one looks like it has something in it. May you find yourself surrounded this holiday season with family and friends, and find your journey into 2018 filled with peace, prosperity, and hopefully a little bit of adventure.
Cheers.
Now, where can you go to have a toast at 7 a.m. and you never Toastmasters? Very good job, Brian. Thank you, Brian.
And so, Avital is going to be walking around Walmart between 1 and 3 this afternoon.
Friends.
I'd like to thank our guests for coming today, and our online guests, and our speakers today. Next week's schedule, Brian Haggerty is going to be the Toastmaster. Our speaker 1 is our business meeting. So speaker 2 is Laura Lee, only able to really be speaker 1. She'll be evaluated by Avital. The grammarian will be Julia, and I will be the timer. I will work on practicing how to do that now and then. And Laurie will be the general. Any problems with that?
I heard somebody make the correction, it's not gonna be next week, it's gonna be 2 weeks.
Yes.
It's gonna be next year.
Next year. That is true. Whole new year. And we have, she comes in sometimes and sometimes it's Shelley. We have a Christmas card to do and other waitresses that help us out on our meeting. And there's a little something inside. Thank you. Any other business before I adjourn the meeting? You want to do it? She gets a thrill out of hitting.
And your words.
I have
Big journey.
another note on here.
Julie, we're gonna.
Hi, guys. And so, just think about it. And really think about it. Even if you don't say anything, you can watch it online.
Yes, recorded too. They can always catch up with us too.
Yeah.
Avatar.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm looking at
she was. I need to interview. About our online and all of this now. And so it works for you as far as having a half an hour.
Bye, everyone.
Hi to all.
I know.